persuaded me to come back. They advanced a number of arguments on a number of fronts. Firstly, they claimed that resistance was useless. But secondly, they made appeal to my better nature, or what Sir David called my super marvelous super nature. He told me that this cause was, in fact, worthy of support. At this point, I have to admit that, in fact, I knew almost nothing about the Prince's Trust. I'd heard of it, of course. Who hasn't? I knew it had something vaguely to do with Phil Collins and possibly Sting. And I was aware from previous TV coverage that it always carried with it the risk of Elton John and friends singing their sensitive hymn to gentleness and peace, Saturday night's all right for fighting. I thought there must be something else to it, and Sir David handed me an official description, which I have here, which may be of some help to you. If you also happened, when it was explained what the Prince's Trust was and did, you also happened to be in Bruges. So let's have a look at the philosophy behind the Prince's Trust. And I use the word philosophy wrongly. Let's look instead at the aims and principles. My notes tell me that it was 20 years ago that the Prince's Trust itself was founded by the Prince of Wales. 10 years ago, a new division of the Trust was developed specifically to enable young people to start up in business. This was inexplicably called the Prince's Youth Business Trust, or PYBT, pronounced PIBT. And it is the 10th anniversary of PIBT that we are here to celebrate with music, laughter, and backstage at least, drunkenness and casual sex. My guide to the PIBT tells me that since 1986, PIBT and its Scotch cousin, the Prince's Scottish Youth Business Trust, or PSIBD, have helped more than 30,000 young people become self-employed. It's enough to fill this venue 6 times over. There is no limit, and I quote, to the kind of idea which PIBT has helped to realize, from pig farmers to painters, publishers, and plumbers, it says. Now, you may wonder why only work beginning with a P is encouraged. Well, if His Royal Highness had been the Prince of Wales, then I've no doubt that fudge makers, framers, farriers, and financial advisors would have got a look in too. But you've got to start somewhere. So it's been a wonderful 10 years for potters, plastic surgeons, potty makers, pantyhose manufacturers, and particularly pornographers, of course. So it's been wonderful enough to allow the top 100 PIBT-supported businesses to achieve a combined turnover of £50 million and rising. But if I can, just for a moment, pull off the casual denim jeans of frivolity and just slip on the dry, dark woolen trousers of serious purpose, it is worth celebrating this moment. Britain's major export, you might think, is cynicism, moaning. We moan at youth crime, at the apparently motiveless, rootless existences of the young who have no inspiration, no education worth speaking of, no spur to prick the sides of their intent, nothing ahead of them but dole, drugs, drink, deprivation. But an institution that doesn't judge, but instead acts, is of far more use to this country than a million words of sanctimonious homily. And the Prince's Trust acts by showing young people that their future lives lie in their own hands and their own efforts. So I am proud to be asked to be here to celebrate this organization at a time when many think there is so little to celebrate in our land, and to join in thanks for those who've helped run it and support it from the very highest, the most exalted in the land. Slurp, lick, fondle, I'm sorry. I just happen to be an enormous admirer of Shirley Bassey. Right down, of course, to the envelope lickers, the unsung heroes who keep the whole enterprise afloat. And talking of there being not much to celebrate in Britain these days, I hear from a friend who's been covering the Cricket World Cup in India, of an embarrassing incident that took place in Calcutta late last week. Jack Russell, the England wicketkeeper, was in his hired car driving to the airport to return to England, and he was stopped by a policeman who thought that he'd been driving erratically. He wound down the window, and the policeman asked him to blow into a breathalyzer tube because he suspected him of being drunk, at which Jack Russell handed him a small card on which was printed, "I am an asthmatic. Please don't ask me to blow down anything." So the policeman said, "Well, very well, but I must in that case ask for a blood test." And Jack Russell handed him another card, and it said, "I'm a haemophiliac. Please don't take any blood out of me." And the policeman said, "Well, very well, we have to get to the bottom of this, so I must ask for a urine sample." And Jack Russell handed him another card. It said, "I'm an England cricketer. Please don't take the piss out of me." Well, I have, as usual, talked too much. And as the Archbishop of Canterbury likes to say on these occasions, that's enough tedious arse from me, let's party. You've been awfully poppety. Bless you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for supporting this tremendously important cause. I love you all very, very much indeed. Thank you.